Hi guys, CI here. Well, it's September 11th, and since that's an important day for a lot of Americans, I thought I'd give some thoughts on it. The problem is I don't really know what my thoughts are on September 11th. So I think I'll just describe to you what happened on the day that it happened, back in 2001. I used to be in the Navy. I was in the Navy for 5 years, and I was in the Navy in 2001. I was stationed in San Diego. I was not living in the barracks at the time. I was living in an apartment. I had a couple roommates. I woke up that morning. I think it was a Tuesday. And you have to remember that the West Coast is 3 hours later than New York City. So when I woke up, the planes had already hit the buildings. Or perhaps they were hitting them just then. I can't remember exactly how it all played out, but I do remember this. I woke up and I was in my room and I was getting ready, dressed, who knows what. I started hearing from the living room my roommate Susan screaming about something. And she was screaming something like, "Oh my God! No, they didn't!" And my immediate thought was, well, God, what is it this time? Susan is very dramatic, and she always is overreacting things. So I thought it was just something stupid. I didn't think anything except that. And then I went out into the living room where she was, and the TV was on, and she was pointing at it and freaking out. And I saw what it was. I saw the planes flying into the buildings. I can't remember if I was seeing it live or if I was seeing it recorded, but it doesn't matter because at the time it was live to me. And I don't know if I'll ever have a feeling like that. It was astonishing. It was disbelief. It was shock. It was almost nausea, almost. I don't know what it was like to be a civilian on that day, but I know what it was like to be in the military. We didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know if the nation was at war. We weren't sure if there were going to be more attacks. I was supposed to go to work that day at the Navy base. Were some of the ships going to be attacked? Was somebody going to bring a boat alongside one of the ships and blow it up? That happened before, down in Yemen. So we didn't know what was going to happen. All I knew was that I had joined the Navy in peacetime, and it was possible that I was now in the Navy at wartime. And I knew that if I ended up being sent off to war, that I would go, and I was okay with that. But on that morning, nobody knew. We had no idea what was coming. And now here we are, 13 years later. Do I have any bits of wisdom about the terrorist attacks on September 11th? Not really. I don't know that I could tell you anything wise. I think it was a horrible day. I think it was a horrible thing done by horrible people. And I think it affected this country immensely and probably always will. I'm not one of those people who say, never forget. I'm not one of those people who's still furious about it 13 years later. But I do know that it's important. It was an important event. It's the kind of thing where if you were old enough to remember it, you will never ever forget it. So that's my September 11th story. Sorry I don't have any real, good bits of wisdom, but at least I can tell you what I was doing that day. Alright guys, I will see you next week, and Linda, I will see you tomorrow.